So when I tell people what I do for a living, they say to me, can anybody sing? And I always say, yes, you can sing, and you should sing if you care about the way that you feel, if you care about your well-being. Your voice isn't your enemy, it's your own unique audio blueprint, a little bit like your DNA. And learning to sing is like a ticket to your inner being, so why wouldn't you do it? I'm Sally Garozzo, and I've been a singing teacher and vocal coach for 16 years. Not just for the pros, but for absolutely anybody that wants to learn to sing. Not only do I work with the voice and the vocal mechanism, I also work with the ears, developing your ears and sense of musicality. I work with the way that you channel your energy through your body, and I also work with the thoughts and the mind, because that's a big part of singing. I have a studio in Brighton where I teach one-to-ones. I do mindfulness for singers workshops. I do trios, amateur trios. I do these lovely full-length luxury VIP days, but they are affordable. Last year I was asked by the British Institute of Modern Music to go and deliver a masterclass on mindfulness for stage anxiety, and it was totally oversubscribed. It was a really wonderful day and really well received, so I was very chuffed to be asked to do that. And I myself am a singer-songwriter. I've got a couple of albums under my belt. I currently do backing vocals in a wonderful Brighton band called Della Lupa, and I am in the process of setting up a vintage close harmony swing trio, because harmonies are my passion. So later on I'm going to tell you how you can stay in touch with me, or how you can contact me if you want to stay inspired by all things singing. But for now, I'd like to ask you a couple of questions. The first question is, do you like the sound of your voice, or do you cringe when you hear it back, and do you really not wish it upon other people? Yes, no, maybe. Have a think about it. Do you have a gut feeling that you could sing with a bit of guidance? Maybe. Or do you think that singing lessons are just for people that can already sing? Well, I'm here to tell you that singing lessons are for anybody. And that's because I've witnessed the changes that can happen in everyday people. So for example, I've seen people who have been really numbed out by the day-to-day drudgery of everyday life, you know, the boredom, the routine, just come alive again through singing. It's given them purpose and meaning back in their life. I've seen people who have serious anxiety just forget about it, and it gives them a distraction, a welcome distraction from their thoughts. I've seen people's confidence go through the roof. So when I've asked somebody to do a solo in front of people, they never thought they could do it, but they trained for it. And after they did it, their confidence just went through the roof, and they wanted to do more and more and more. It became like an addiction almost. And I've seen lifelong bonds form, you know, in choirs where you've got that camaraderie and all that oxytocin flowing through the body. So singing really does ignite your passions, it builds confidence, it changes your body's chemistry, and it connects people. And in a world where we're always in front of the computer screen, we need this now more than ever. So, how did I come to all of this then? Well, singing has always given me a lot of joy, except for when it's given me a lot of frustration. I have always sung ever since I can remember, thanks to wonderful grandparents. At school, I always kind of stepped forward and wanted to be in plays and concerts, and got picked for lead roles and stuff. I always had a sweet voice. I could always sing in tune. It wasn't exceptional, but it was okay. By the time I was 18, I was asked to be in a choir called the South London Singers, which helped me to understand the rehearsal process, helped me to sight read better and understand harmonies much better. Now, at the time I was in the South London Singers, professionally I was a beauty therapist, and it was a nice career. I enjoyed working with people, I enjoyed the counselling element and helping people to feel better. But it wasn't really my calling, you could say, but I was happy enough. And then something happened to me which really disrupted me, and that thing was called the Spice Girls. They emerged onto the scene in the 1990s with such passion, and they totally got under my skin and infected every fibre of my being. So much so that it made my life feel quite dull in comparison to theirs. And I just wanted to be a Spice Girl. There was no holding me back. I wanted to go out into the world with my own brand of unique feminism and give the world my girl power. And so what I did, I dissected their songs, I hacked together a few songs of my own, and I made a demo tape. And I took this demo tape to a venue in London called West 14, where there was a house band, and the house band learnt my tracks, and I was able to get up on stage in front of my friends and family with a microphone, with a band, and I performed my songs. I was clad from head to toe in my black leathers, my sunglasses, my big bouffant hair, and finally I was a Spice Girl. I'd made it. And I couldn't wait to watch the video footage back to see how good I was. And as I sat there with my cup of tea and the tape started playing, I started to feel deeply ashamed of myself because it was horrible. It was awful. I was completely out of tune. My voice lacked power. I was trying to sing powerfully but didn't quite know how to, and it just sounded far too operatic or choir-like to be with a band. I felt totally ashamed of myself because obviously I'd subjected my friends and family to that and they had to tell me it was good, but the proof was right there, and it felt so uncomfortable that I had no choice but to change. And really that discomfort really spurred me on to want to understand my voice so much better. And I did. And I researched and researched, took loads of lessons, and I'm still learning. But I've discovered and uncovered a lot of aspects about the voice, and now I have a pretty decent voice, and the voice that I like. So I'd like you to now fast forward in time to a few years ago. I was studying a degree at the Brighton Institute of Modern Music in music, and I was a bit stressed. I was out of the frenzy of youth by now, and I was a bit more settled, and I was performing on stage one of my songs with my piano and my band in front of my cohort, and suddenly my mind decided to sabotage my performance. It started saying things like, oh, what if you can't remember the next chord? What about if you don't know what that next lyric is? And I just went blank. And it was terrifying. I could feel the fear rising up from the ground, just making my heart clench, and everything sort of went into a hollow. Don't ask me how I got to the end of the gig, but I did. However, when I got home, I vowed that I wouldn't be doing that again. I didn't want to put myself through that again, and it was just too scary, and I was over it. So I pretty much locked myself away in my flat for the next 3 years, which was actually the worst thing I could have done because I lost some social skills, and even going to the supermarket felt like a daunting task, let alone getting back on stage. But then, you know, enough was enough, and I had to learn something. I had to literally decide to get better. I tried loads of stuff, and I decided to embark on a daily routine of mindfulness and Qi Gong. And those two practices combined really have helped me to be okay with who I am. To be okay with who I am right here, right now, when the doors are closed. To be okay with who I am when I'm teaching. To be okay with who I am when I'm talking to people. To be okay with who I am when I'm doing backing vocals. To be okay with who I am when I'm doing lead vocals. And gradually and slowly but surely, I've developed a practice of mindfulness combined with singing and performing and literally everyday life, to be honest. But the one thing I've learned through all of this is that no matter how much vocal technique you've got, at the end of the day, it's your mind that sings. Yes. So I've weaved together this mindfulness and voice production to form one very powerful teaching modality. I'd like you to contemplate for a moment this. Right here inside your neck is a musical instrument. There's a musical instrument inside your throat. How often do you think about that? If you don't consciously choose to use it, it's never going to get played. And that's a sad fact. If you don't use your voice, it can become ill. You can develop conditions like hypothyroid, you can develop tonsillitis regularly, laryngitis, dysphonia, stressed out tight voice kind of sound, and a general feeling of discomfort. And also it's linked very closely to your heart, so it helps you to express difficult emotions, and if those emotions aren't expressed, they linger and stay in the body, causing all kinds of illness and disease. So learning to sing is more than just creating a pretty sound, it's for your health. Now the trouble is, I believe we try to compare our voices, and we're frightened of singing because we don't sound like Adele or Freddie Mercury or Whitney Houston. To be honest, not many people do, and that shouldn't really be an excuse not to sing. Your voice is so unique, only you have it. What honestly gives you the right to compare it to anybody else's? You know, just saying. So, I've experienced all of the fears and anxieties that go with being on a singing journey, and I'm a very, very empathic teacher. So if this is something that you feel drawn to doing, I honestly believe you'll be in safe hands with me. So I'd like you to imagine a world where you no longer felt self-conscious about singing in front of others or within earshot of other people. If you want to explore that becoming a reality, then I really want to hear from you. It is my soul's purpose to help people find the freedom to sing and to become healthier and happier individuals as a result. Now after this video, a link's going to pop up. If you click on the link, you can book in for a telephone chat with me. Totally free, and we can see if we can design a plan of action for you, or we can just have a chat. That's it for now. Thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful day. Keep using that voice.